Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today we're going to be entertained not just by Wumba here in the Japanese Tier 10 super battleship, the Yamato. This is a Tier 10 ranked battle, there are only 6 players per team, but this is one of the more interesting battles I've seen in recent memory for all kinds of reasons. Not all of them good reasons. Oh really, Jingles? And what exactly do you mean by that? Well, no spoilers. You'll understand, eventually. Although one spoiler has just popped up on screen right now, that big fat number 0. What's that for, Jingles? Don't worry, all will become clear in time. Just ignore it for now. It'll be fine. So, yeah. Domination, ranked battle, land of fire map, 3 cap circles, Alpha, Bravo and Charlie. And because it's ranked and there are only 6 players per team, there's nothing fancy happening with initial deployment. Both teams basically start as a blob in the middle of the map, facing the enemy at the other end of the map. So, Wumba, because he's in the Yamato, and it is not a brawler, and does have fantastically accurate and seriously big guns, is looking for some island cover that he can angle up behind and start using to put his guns to work. The destroyer on the team, the Forest Sherman, is heading straight for the closest cap circle. Makes sense. You'd expect the enemy team to be doing the same up to the north in Alpha, and yep, they absolutely have. I mean, it's the safest option of the 3 available cap circles. Note the Yoshino, who's just disappeared off screen to the left. Not a particularly great choice for ranked. I mean, it's a decent enough ship in random battles, but in ranked, it doesn't really do anything that you can't do better with the Zhao. Yeah, I know, the Zhao needs a buff, but it's probably a better choice in ranked than the Yoshino, because the only real thing that the Yoshino brings to the game that the Zhao doesn't is bigger guns. Hold that thought. Bigger guns. Do you remember when the Yoshino was first introduced? Because it followed hot on the heels of the Tier 9 Azuma, which is basically just a Tier 9 version of the Yoshino that doesn't get the Yoshino's torpedoes, or doesn't get any kind of torpedo. And I can quite clearly remember it almost reached meme proportions that right after the Yoshino was introduced into the game. Oh, that was a nice hit, 20,000 damage. Enemy destroyer spotted momentarily. Forest Sherman returning fire, enemy destroyer smokes up, Forest Sherman, yeah, getting chased right out of that cap circle. But he has flipped it, so it's not critical. But yes, I can quite clearly remember right after the Yoshino was introduced, and for weeks afterwards, I don't know what it was like some kind of collective madness gripped all of the world's Yoshino players. They all seemed to think they were in destroyers, because they would just charge straight towards the enemy, turn to show broadside in order to get the torpedoes off, like they were really excited that they actually had torpedoes, and just die as they got the crap citadel out of them for exposing that much broadside at short range. Oh, and speaking of Yoshino torpedoes, there they go, launched from, well, as you can see by looking at the minimap, several kilometers to the rear. The Yoshino actually has a choice of 2 different sets of torpedoes, and I'm not entirely sure which ones those are yet. I suspect the Type 93s, which are basically the noob tubes that you get on the Shimakaze, the ones with a 20-kilometer range, that can be detected from orbit. The other torpedoes available to the Yoshino are the Type 93 Mod 3s, which do 3,000 more damage, travel at 67 knots, they aren't nearly as obvious and easily detected, but only have a range of, I say only, have a range of 12 kilometers. Wumba managing to thread the needle between the first set of torpedoes there, although he's probably going to eat one of these. Yes, and unfortunately it has caused a flood. And you could tell by the icon over the torpedoes, those were deep water torpedoes, launched from the enemy Yu Yang, who thankfully has managed to die, finished off by the Forest Sherman. This was a good battle for a Yu Yang. It was good matchmaking, because the Pan-Asian deep water torpedoes can, and yeah, the Yoshino torpedoes are still going, so those are definitely the 20-kilometer noob tubes. But yes, the Pan-Asian destroyers, deep water torpedoes, the only things they cannot hit are destroyers. So this was actually very good matchmaking for a Yu Yang. he could basically hit everything with his torpedoes other than the Forrest Sherman that killed him. So, should have been a great match for the Yu Yang. Not a great match for the Yu Yang. He's managed to score basically one torpedo hit and now he's dead. Oh well, never mind. And oh look, more Yoshino torpedoes. Again, launched from, well, even further to the rear now, and the first set of torpedoes have just run out of steam. So those are definitely the 20-kilometer Shimakaze noob tube torpedoes. The second set looked like they might actually hit something. Jingles, that big number 0 hasn't changed yet, so you're not tracking Yoshino torpedo launchers, no? No, I'm not. But you're getting close. Again, I don't want to spoil this, but you're in the right ballpark. Right, the team have just lost their Venezia. The Forrest Sherman's heading over to help. Which basically means that Umbawumba is holding down this flank. Well, not by himself. The Yoshino is with him. Several kilometers to the rear. Launching even more torpedoes. With a Yamato up front spotting for him. I think what we may actually be seeing here, due to the rate those torpedoes are actually being launched, is a Yoshino captain who has put all of his equipment choices and captain points into torpedoes. At first I thought maybe he was just training up a destroyer captain on the Yoshino, which you can do without penalty. It's a premium ship after all. Training captains up is one of the things that people buy premium ships for. There he is. Oi, you, help. Cruising around on full health, probably hasn't been spotted this entire game. He's almost certainly gone for a maximum stealth torpedo build, not just on the captain, but also with the ship's equipment, because of the rate at which those torpedoes are getting launched. Which, I mean, you know, you do you. But your ship does have 310mm guns. I mean, park up behind an island. If you're going to use... I can't believe I'm actually saying this. If you're going to use a Yamato to spot for you, then use the Yamato to spot for you. You have guns, not just torpedoes. It looks like he has actually just been spotted. I mean, he's launching more torpedoes, obviously, but I'm pretty sure I just saw some shots heading over the screen in the Yoshino's direction. That probably explains why he's turned around and he's running away to the south again. He probably got a bit too excited and didn't realise that he was in danger of actually being further north than the Yamato. We can't have that, can we? The team have just lost another ship, by the way. The Stalingrad's gone down. And I don't know if you noticed, he's there in chat right now. He is actually asking the Yamato to go forward and spot targets for his torpedoes. You know how stealthy the Yoshino can be? I mean, it's a big cruiser with 310mm guns. I mean, it's nowhere near as stealthy as something like the Zhao, which is another reason why the Zhao's a better choice in ranked if you have it, but you can get the concealment down to 11.9 kilometers. Which isn't great, but it's not bad, and it's a damn sight better than the 14.1 kilometer surface detection range that the increasingly badly battered Umbawumba has on his Yamato here. And the Yoshino is asking him to go forward and spot targets for him. Have you noticed that that number 0 hasn't actually changed yet? Has anybody figured out what it's representing? I mean, it's possible I might have missed the thing that it's counting. But I've been paying attention, and if it has happened, I haven't seen it yet. If you figured it out, or you just want to take a guess, head down to the comments, put the timestamp of the point in the video where you made your guess, and just put it down in the comments. Be very interested to see how many of you are going to get it. Whoa, shit. Umbawumba had just blown his heel and managed to get his health back up to about 50%. And then he took a battering from Thunderer, high explosive, off to the right-hand side of the screen, as well as the continuous battering from Salem high explosive as the Yoshino just... Do you want to maybe... anything would be appreciated, even if it's just torpedoes. He suffered a triple fire there and had to blow his damage control. He's pulling back behind the island, so he's no longer getting hammered by the Thunderer as well. But the Salem Can do a lot of damage with its high explosive 8-inch shells as well. Remember, it's basically a Des Moines with a 5-second reload. But this time the repairs have topped out at 26,000, and now he only has one heal left, and it's on a 1-minute cooldown. Still taking hits from the Salem. The Thunderer at least can't hit him from here. Looks like we're about to get a kill. That Forrest Sherman has actually been doing a pretty good game. There we go. He's just nailed the Stalingrad. And he's trying to provide cover for the Ohio, but, well, there's only so much you can do. Oh, look. More Yoshino torpedoes. Oh, and it looks like the Thunderer can see the Yoshino. Oh, wow, did you see that? The Yoshino just fired his guns at the Thunderer. And, oh, look, the number at the top of the screen has changed. That's right. We are tracking the number of times the Yoshino actually uses his 310mm guns. Anyway, Umblewumber now has a very big Thunderer-shaped problem. And remember, Yamato is not a brawler. If he turns to expose his cheeks, if he tries to angle, the Thunderer, if he's got AP loaded, can citadel him from the front. The Forrest Sherman's just been sunk. There are now only 2 of them left. Umblewumber and the Yoshino. But the Yoshino is moving up, although if he wants to get his torpedoes... Whoa! Check that out, he just fired his guns. Well, I think he did. It might have been his 152mm secondaries, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Although if he wants to torpedo the Thunderer, he's moved to the wrong side of the island. And here comes the Salem again. There goes Umblewumber's last heal. He's now getting pounded from the Salem. He's not trying to angle against the Thunderer, who is instead shooting at the Yoshino with the AP loaded because he doesn't have the Citadel cheeks exposed. He's also getting shot at across the map from the Marseille. The Yoshino gets his torpedoes away again and does score a hit, and there's the kill. Now, Salem. He's backed up behind the island, so he's at least not getting shot across the map from the Marseille. The Salem was showing broadside, but then he saw the Thunderer go down and he knows that he's next, so he's now angling away. What exactly was the Yoshino saving his guns for? He had a perfect broadside Salem to shoot at, but no, we're still looking at 2 shots fired. What is the Yoshino up to? I honestly don't get it. I mean, the whole point of the Yoshino is that it's basically a battle cruiser. It's got battleship-sized guns on a cruiser. It's the only benefit you have of bringing a Yoshino over a Zao. You've got the big guns. And he's only used them, well, possibly twice in the entire game. Yoshino, please do something. He's now coming around the side of that island, broadside on against the Marseille. And the Marseille is a dangerous ship as well. In fact, both of these ships are given broadside to each other. The Yoshino uses that broadside to get his torpedoes away. Still not firing his guns. No, those were his secondaries. They don't count. Yes, he was in secondary range of a broadside Marseille and chose torpedoes instead of guns. So he's dead, and the Marseille isn't. Which means that Umblewumber on 3,000 health with no heals and more than 100 points behind now has to fight the Marseille and the Salem. Fortunately, he is in a Yamato, and these 18-inch guns do tend to make short work of cruisers if you can find the Citadel, so now he just has to find and kill the Salem, who could probably win on points, although he'd have to spend an extremely tense 6 minutes doing it, but it's certainly doable. But then again, we've got a very low health Yamato here, so the Salem chooses violence, except he's firing armor piercing against a nose-in battleship, when the high explosive would definitely have done more damage and probably started to fire. Also, he's given broadside in a cruiser to a Yamato. Oh well, could have, should have, didn't. And yet, despite the title of the video, you will be astonished to learn that the Yoshino was not actually the weakest link. Despite that pants-on-head stupid performance from a cruiser armed with 310mm guns that seemed to be allergic to pressing the left mouse button, he was not the worst player on the team. Hard though that may be to believe, the points don't lie. Yeah. Well, anyway, congratulations to Wumba Wumba for snatching victory from the jaws of defeat there, aided by the Japanese Tier 10 destroyer, the Yoshino. Honestly, you couldn't make this shit up. Take care, folks. Stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.